The 35% corporate tax rate is a myth for many profitable Fortune 500 companies. That's according to a new study from the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy. It shows that 258 Fortune 500 companies were consistently profitable over an 8-year period and paid a 21.2% effective tax rate. The study also found that 100 companies enjoyed at least 1 year in which their federal income tax was 0 or less. 18 companies, including GE, IP, Priceline, paid no federal income tax over the 8-year period. And collectively, the 258 companies enjoyed almost over $500 billion in tax breaks over the last 8 years. Not sure this is entirely breaking new ground.
No, and remember, there's lots of companies that weren't just finagling. They actually had some losses. They took some restructuring. They didn't necessarily make that much money. And there's a lot of companies that now the thing, I mean, to me, a much more valuable study is what happened, say, last year when the economy started getting better.
Right, although they did make the point that those were profitable companies.
Right.
And I do think, given the debate that we're going to be having on corporate tax reform, these are salient points that are worth paying attention to. Not to mention, and this has already been done by many people who are trying to figure out the potential breaks that are going to come from tax reform, they already are looking at the effective tax rate for many of these corporations and seeing whether, in fact, they would benefit from, let's call it, the overall package of tax reform where you get the rate down to 20%. And many of them won't. That's what's interesting.
Right.
And yet, you can imagine why we need corporate tax reform, because the territorial system and elimination of so many of the potential games that need to be played by these corporations, and I say games, they're legal, moving IP, moving so many other things in terms of what they do to avoid U.S. taxes would be potentially done away with.
General Electric, in a statement, said the report, in a comment, said the report is deeply flawed and misleading, but it brings us back to the Caterpillar news this week in the Times. And